Howdy folks, my name is Richard Lynch. My earliest of my memory, I can remember getting up and walking out in we were raised in an old farmhouse, and I'd get out of bed, we'd run into the kitchen, and Dad would have a fire built in the old cook stove, and I can remember on the radio, be playing some traditional country music, the Osborne Brothers, and back then it would be Buck Owens and Mel Street, and I just knew that music was in my heart because my dad did it, and it was what I wanted to do, no question.
He'll tell you that tradition in America is strong.
Country's from the heart. It's the horses, it's the horse barn, it's the raising the hay, working on a farm, getting to work with my old cattle dog, enjoying country to its fullest, and enjoying country music to its fullest. Country to me is just a way of life. I think a lot of people that have respect for our country and our traditional values like my music. I'm pretty sure of that. I'm thankful for the position I'm finally in, and I'm thankful for good people who like my music.
They're tried and true, red, white, and blue, and the last.
Welcome to the Better Each Day podcast radio show with Bruce Hilliard. Today and every day, reaching out for innovative ideas in every way. Today's show is brought to you by your future. It comes with a lifetime guarantee.
Make a better each day now, baby. Better in every way.
Traditional country crooner and member of the Independent Country Music Hall of Fame, Richard Lynch is no stranger to chart-topping hits. His last 3 singles reached that pinnacle on multiple radio airplay charts, including New Music Weekly, Roots Music Report, and IndieWorld Country Record Report. His hit, Queer American Proud, was recently named the #1 traditional country song of 2010 by Roots Music Report. I caught up with Richard in Somewhere, Texas, as on the road as you can get, talking to us on his cell phone, headed to country music greatness.
We're American proud.
Today we're with Richard Lynch. How are you doing today, Richard?
Hey, Bruce, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, pal.
So, tell me, you're out on the road right now? Are you touring, or what are you doing?
Yeah, we spend an awful lot of time out on the road traveling, and we're currently down in South Texas doing several shows up the Rio Grande Valley. We got off a boat last Saturday afternoon, or Saturday morning, I guess you should say. We've been doing a country music cruise all the way down through Yucatan, so a Gulf of Mexico cruise, playing country music with 6 other acts, and that was a treat. We had a lot of fun with that. There's a lot of folks everywhere we go who love that traditional country music, and so we get to do what we love to do and be around people that love what we do. It's a pretty good way to make a dollar, my friend.
Doesn't get any better than that. You recently did a tour, I believe, last summer, Alaskan cruise, rather. I'm going for.
Yeah, we got to go up on a cruise up in Alaska, and didn't go into the interior of Alaska, but we also played music on that cruise with Mr. Jimmy Fortune from the Statler Brothers, and wow, now there's a talent right there, and to be able to play with somebody that I've always admired and loved his music was pretty special with me. It was a pretty great event for us.
That's awesome. One of the first albums I bought was the Statler Brothers, Flowers on the Wall.
Man, that's going back a day or two now, my friend.
Well, I tend to date myself a little bit, but it was a great song. There was a lot of great, they had a lot of great music. In fact, I probably have the album memorized because, like I said, it was one of my first albums, so I listened to it probably 5,000 times.
So that just go to show you, though, I mean, great country music, and I say this everywhere we play, great country music does not have an expiration date. People love the music, and the folks that are not necessarily getting to hear it very often, the young folks, when they get a chance to hear it, they tend to gravitate to it. They tend to follow it. They automatically, want to be more, made aware of the music. And so I'm just so proud that I get to play traditional country music and kind of help keep it alive as best as I can.
I just interviewed an English rock band about 3 weeks ago called Stilia, and they sound like an English rock band. So I always ask a question at the end of the interview. What kind of music do you listen to? What kind of music do you like? And the lead singer just kind of took over and said, I got this. He said, George Strait.
I love it.
I know. That's pretty traditional stuff right there. And I thought, wow, this guy's maybe 23 years old. He lives in England, and he's into George Strait. So I don't know. I always listen to the stuff from England, so I guess that makes sense. But I don't know.
Well, this goes to show you, great music is universal. Once people find out that they can, kind of connect with the music, it doesn't matter where you're from. It's all about the music. And we play in Ireland summer before last with David Frizzell.
Oh, wow.
And I was kind of not knowing what to expect when we got over there. And when we got across the pond, as soon as the jet landed, we went into the airport there, and there's a young man, 20-some years old, singing Keith Whitley songs and old songs from the 60s and 70s. And I'm like, well, this is really cool. Well, come to find out, traditional country music in Ireland is the largest genre in the entire country. I didn't know that, but I felt right at home. I'll put it that way.
Wow, you must have been a superstar over there, huh?
Sure. It seemed like it is. People they love the music, and David Frizzell, what a legendary family he comes from. Lefty Frizzell era, and all the folks that from the 50s and 60s, and to be over there with David, and to be around that, that much appreciation for the music. Well, I was walking around 10 feet tall for a few days.
That's got to make you feel good. That's got to. Oh wow. Who are your early influences?
Well, I would say, I grew up in a country music household, and by that, my dad was an incredible entertainer, singer, played all over the Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana area. I was from southwestern Ohio, born and raised on a farm there, and I grew up listening to the real country music, and from the earliest recollection I had, there was Buck Owens and Merle Haggard and George Jones, and my dad was a huge fan of Ernest Tubb and all the folks of his era. But I would have to say my number one earliest influence was a guy named Conway Twitty. Oh my gosh, I just loved his music. And as I got a little older and started performing by myself, a guy by the name of Keith Whitley absolutely influenced me just immensely. I loved his music. I loved being around, that type of sound. Even today, if you listen to my music, you can hear some influence by Keith Whitley and Conway Twitty.
Yeah, those are huge names. I'm not what I would call a gigantic country fan. I love it, but I don't, it's not really my genre of topics that I speak well in. But those are well-known names. What was the first big concert you attended?
This is going to blow you away.
God, I knew that'd be a good answer.
I mentioned my dad, and the first concert I ever got to, I was actually 8 years old, and my dad was playing with a guy by the name of Porter Wagner in Dayton, Ohio. It was an outside concert. And I got to go for the first time, and me and my younger brother and my mother was sitting in the audience watching my dad perform. And I'm watching the show, and I'm seeing this guy that I watch on TV every Saturday night up with my dad. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. My dad's a star. Yeah. So I was really mesmerized by this. And Dad's performing, and unbeknownst to me, he pointed down to my mom and said, "Set that boy up here," pointed to me. Oh. So I got up on the stage and did an old Buck Owens song. I got a tiger by the tail.
Oh, yeah.
And that was my first introduction to performing live on the stage. Was about 5,000 or 6,000 people on there. Not everybody can say that, but my dad made sure that he put me up there.
You want to start small, you want a good venue. Dad, if you're going to be my booking agent, I want some good stuff here. I don't want to play a bike shop or something. I want a big stage.
I say that, and I even question myself. That really happened. That was so cool. What a memory,
How old were you?
But I was 8 years old the first time I did that, and I was bit really early by the country music bug, you might say. Of course, my dad was a well-established entertainer in the area, and the fact that I'm performing, my dad's name was Woody, and so here I'm playing. I was known as Woody's boy for a long, long time, and I sure did not have a problem with that, I can tell you.
That's pretty cool. At that age, you must be thinking, well, every concert I'm going to go to from now on, they're going to ask me to come up on the stage because I'm pretty cool.
Well, stranger things have happened, I guess. But,
I know.
It's amazing. It's amazing when you look back and you get to thinking about, how things came to be, and because I didn't know, there was anything else but country music all my life growing up. I was born and raised into it. Every morning I get up, it'd be on the radio, and Dad would go out. When they was on a farm, and Dad would go out and do the chores, and before he did anything, he'd drink a cup of coffee and had that radio blaring. And then I thought, this is how everybody's supposed to live.
In your DNA, yeah. So you currently have a farm venue, Keepin Country Farm.
Yes, I do. Yeah, we have a farm. We have a farm about 30 miles north of Cincinnati, Ohio. That's where we call home. Not too far from the old farmhouse where I grew up in. And I bought the place in 2003, and we built this, I think it's been 4 years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago. We built this beautiful barn, to me a barn is supposed to look like an old wooden barn, because I grew up on an old farm, and there was all kinds of barns in and around the old original farm there. So I built a barn that was supposed to look like a barn, not a metal box. So I built this barn with every intention on it looking genuine and sounding genuine. But when you walked in there, people are just blown away with the fact that there's great music around this farm, and it's a pond, and we've got horses and hay field. They can come to an environment to where they're comfortable right out of the gate. A lot of folks had agricultural upbringings, or grandparents that had some agricultural upbringings and so forth. So when they come to our farm, right away they feel comfortable, and they get to hear great country music in a country atmosphere. We've had a lot of folks there. We've had T. Graham Brown come. We've had Ronnie McDowell come. We've had Buddy Jewell. We've had Confederate Railroad, and on and on. And, it seems like wherever we have these folks come, even the big national stars are blown away with the fact that there's a place like this that exists. So really the barn and the farm is almost as big an attraction as the music. It's just a pretty special place.
I would think the artist would say, yeah, that sounds cool. I want to play there. Isn't that the case?
They do. And they always want to reschedule a different date. And we don't do it all the time. We do about 4 shows a year there on the farm. And that makes it special, because, everybody gets busy, and they think, well, if they got this event going on and they have it, every other weekend or every weekend, we'll catch it next week, or we'll catch it next week. Well, we're on the road an awful lot. So they realize now, a lot of folks realize that if they want to come to this event, they have to plan for them to come. And we've had people come from 7, 8 different states for every event. It's pretty spectacular, actually.
It reminds me of Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come.
I've heard that before.
I had a feeling. Not all that original, But it seems like the obvious.
That is so cool. I mean, you're catching on. I mean, you're exactly right. How the people say, that if you build it, they will come. And I wondered, when I first started building the building, I thought, is this even going to be interesting to people? And I was blown away how much people love it and love to come. And the doors open at like 6:30 or so, and the band starts playing at 7 or 7:30. And we'll have people come there at 3 o'clock. We're just sitting around wanting to be on the farm. It's pretty cool.
That's cool, and that's in Waynesville, Ohio.
Waynesville, Ohio. Just it's called the Keepin Country Farm, and we have a double meaning there. It's right out in the middle of farm, agricultural country, and we're keeping that traditional country alive and well. So keeping it country on the agriculture and keeping it country with the music.
Back in Love Again, We're American Proud. My favorite song that I've heard is about a barn, of all things. Who writes songs about barns,
Well, there's a kind of cool story behind that particular song. Me and my piano player Jerry Hughes wrote that song. We were doing a show in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan the summer before last, and I'll say one thing about the folks in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan: they don't get a whole lot of entertainers up there, just because they have a short season. It doesn't stay warm an awful long time up there. So when a band comes up and they enjoy them, they thoroughly enjoy them and the music up there. So we did our show, and we were in intermission, and a lady walked up to me and she says, "Richard, I love your music. I was wondering if you'd write a song for me." And I don't hear that every day. I kind of snickered a little bit. I said, "Well, sure, tell me more." She said, "Let me start." She said, "I have a foundation that I want to start here in Michigan to help and save and preserve old barns that are kind of disappearing around the countryside." And I said, "Well, me being a farm boy, I can relate with that immensely." She said, "What I'd like to have you do is write me a song that I can call an anthem, take it down to Lansing, Michigan, get some funding and get some organization behind it, and go around and maybe save a barn or two a year." I said, "Well, that's a really cool concept." So about 6 months goes by, and me being the ball of fire that I was, 6 months goes by, and I finally write the song.
No, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I wrote the song, and I sent it to her, just me playing the guitar, and she really wasn't that impressed with it. I thought, "Well, daggone it, I don't know what else to do." I thought, "Well, I'm going to go ahead and record this song because I think it's pretty spectacular." So we would put it on an album, and she said, "Will you send me the finished cut of the finished composition of Worth Saving?" The name of the song is called Worth Saving.
Yeah.
I sent it to her. She was absolutely blown away. As a matter of fact, she's had an immense amount of interest, not only in Michigan, but other states as well, to where we can use this song as an anthem and help. And we did 2 shows already to help save somebody. Our first show we raised $22,000 to help a farm family help them restore an old barn. So, country music is great, but if you can take something like the music and generate it toward a worthwhile cause like that, man, it don't get much better than that.
That's the best. Anytime you can make something out of nothing, I think is a remarkable feat. But yeah, it's a great song, and you have to kind of wait till you get to the end of it to really get a grasp on what it's about.
Picture a place where many years have gone by. A Michigan winter and a deep blue sky. That cold north wind couldn't bring it down. Not every place was meant to be in town. This old barn is where I used to play. This old barn is where my grandpa prayed. So if you tear it down, it won't be coming back around. There's so much real country charm in this old barn. Hand-hewed beams and them old dirt floors, old leather tack hanging from a rough sawed board, and you can still read that old faded sign. Hardware flour and the 5 and dime. This old barn is where I used to play. This old barn is where my grandpa prayed. So if you tear it down, it won't be coming back around. There's so much real country charm. This old barn. I hope you like these words I'm saying. Then you'll know this barn's worth saving. This old barn, you know it's worth saving. This old barn, where my grandpa.
It's funny that years ago when somebody built a barn, everybody in the community chipped in, type of thing. You know? And now it's kind of a dwindling thing, and it takes a musician to step up to maintain it. So you're carrying the torch, my friend. I'm proud of you.
Well, thank you, Bruce. You know, I love what I do, and you know, if I said it kind of earlier, if I can do something and love what I do and help people, it helps me. Man, it don't get much better than that as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it sounds like you're heading into a restaurant to get something to eat, so I thank you for your time.
Bruce, it was an absolute pleasure to get to talk with you, sir, and we're down here in South Texas. We'll be heading north here in a couple of weeks. We'll be playing all over the country. I'd like to invite all your listeners to go to my website, richardlynchband.com. Check us out. We'd love to see somebody, all these folks out here on the road, and always say to everybody, we're going to keep it country. I hope you join us.
All right. Thank you so much, Richard.
Thank you, sir.
Living in the modern day, electronic super age, nothing's done the way it used to be. Nobody writes a letter or shows up in the worst of weather on the front porch with a rose and an apology. Now it's email or iPhone message, that's the only way to catch you. But you don't call back or come online. So I sit and stare at your Facebook picture. The only way to get back near you is cut and paste your face next to mine. It looks good and it matches up. What a shame that ain't us, like it used to be once upon a time. What I'd give to have you back, how I'd love another crack, just one more chance to get it right. But now it's email or iPhone message, that's the only way to catch you. But you don't call back or come online. So I sit and stare at your Facebook picture. The only way to get back near you is cut and paste your face next to mine. Now it's email or iPhone message, that's the only way to catch you. But you don't call back or come online. So I sit and stare at your Facebook picture. The only way to get back near you is cut and paste your face next to mine. Yeah, it looks like I've blown forever. The only way we'll be together cut and paste your face next to mine.
Support for Better Each Day comes from BruceHilliardHomes.com. For a better day in buying or selling a home, search BruceHilliardHomes.com or visit our website Better Each Day for more information. And while you're there, subscribe to the show. It's free. That's BruceHilliardHomes.com, Windermere Real Estate, and make it better each day.
You've been listening to the Better Each Day podcast radio show with Bruce Hilliard. We'll be back with a new horizon, but until then, honor the future. It comes with a lifetime guarantee.
And we're all just trying to make the next day a bit better.